PTC Media, bringing quality scouting podcasts to packs, troops, and crews. Find us on the web at ptcmedia.net.
My brother Scouts, I want to remind you in a very few words of what your duty is as Scouts. Apart from merely living in camp, cooking your own grub, and playing Scout games.
Welcome to Scout Nation, the show for guys who hang out in the parking lot after the meeting. I'm Scoutmaster Shawn, and I am here with my co-host, Scoutmaster Bryan.
How you doing?
Well, I'm probably not doing as well as I want to be doing because I'm still fighting off this cold. I'm on some antibiotics, no serious medications yet that are going to make me all goofy and loopy. But if I sound like I'm off on a tangent or really just kind of weird,
I'll take control and
just
go
ahead.
Go back to La La Land for a while and recover.
That's right, and just send me a quick signal, however you got to do it. If you have to text my wife and tell her to come down and smack me around.
There you go.
But she'll probably come down in an hour anyways and tell me, the meeting's over, it's time to go. So, other than me feeling kind of crappy, I feel pretty decent, but the medication is kind of kicking in, so my voice may go, and that's why I wanted to let you talk a little bit first so I can, I'll just grab a quick drink.
All right.
What's going on here at your side of the world, Bryan?
Well, geez, let's see. Holy cow, it's been quite a month since our first episode of Scout Nation, and what we'll probably do tonight is I'm going to do a little news about me and my troop, and Shawn, you're going to do some news about you and your troop, and then we'll jump right into tonight's topic. So let's hope everybody sticks around. Good Lord, we had a real active January. We, of course, winter camporee. Now, winters in Indiana are not as tough as winters up in Green Bay, but 2 years ago we were down in -4. This year we were in the 20s. Big attendance for us this year, and we did really well. Overall, we took 3rd in the district for troop, and I'm even more proud of one of our first-year patrols. Was the only patrol that actually placed. We had 5 patrols there competing, and one of our first-year patrols actually took 2nd in the orienteering course. So I was really happy with that.
What kind of stuff do you guys have at your winter camporees? Like, what are some of the events?
Well, we did a couple of. They had. It was different this year. We had a very small troop organize it. And they needed some help. So a lot of the other troops stepped up and donated volunteers to help run some stations. We ended up running 2. So it was a nice mix. The small troop knew what they wanted to do and put it forth, and we did a lot of staffing. And I think it worked out well. We had an orienteering course that included compass and GPS. We had a backpacking course, as in what will you bring. We had a whole bunch of items laid out and said, okay, you're going to Philmont in June. Here's a whole shopping cart full of really cool equipment. Some you can use, some you should leave behind, and there was also some best, better, or good, better, and best selections that they can make. That was kind of fun. We had a bridge building contest where each patrol was given 2 index cards, and they had to build a bridge. And there was a little contraption that we had, and put some weight on it, and a couple of bridges with 2 index cards. They could do anything those index cards except for use tape or glue or any type of adhesive. And a couple of those things held 11, 12, 13 pounds. So
really?
It was pretty fun, And then there was the usual winter camporee stuff. We had a cooking contest. We didn't have a Klondike Derby this year because they didn't think there'd be snow on the ground, but yet there it was all over the place. So a couple of troops brought their sleds and went mushing across some of the fields. We built a watchtower with lashings that went up about, I'd say about 10 feet or so. So it was a really good time. And then really high attendance from all the troops in the district, and good attendance from my troop in particular. I think it was our highest attended winter camporee in quite some time. So that was really cool. We had our recharter. So we were down a little bit. We recharted 111 scouts this year and 59 adults. And 111 is down a couple from our 120, but we got some guys who aged out. But the good news is that looking at our crossovers, come March 1st, we could be increasing the troop by 31. So we'll be up to 142 by mid-March.
Wow.
So, yeah, quite the busy month. Quite the busy month in Scout Nation for this old Scoutmaster. So how about you?
Well, let's see. My Packers won the Super Bowl, and that's really all I have.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There was that little game.
It's just that little game, which, being from Green Bay, really kind of, if it ain't about the Packers, it really isn't about anything, but in my world, scouting is a lot. So we rechartered too. We rechartered, well, not as many as 111, but we got part of your numbers. We got 9 scouts because it's actually official now. The boys did cross over. The 5th one actually crossed over last week to the troop. The other 4 had already transferred and had been attending troop meetings, but now the official ceremony is over and everything else. Those guys, they've already picked their patrol name. They've picked their they haven't picked their patrol yell. The SPL and I talked about it the other night that it's time for them, that meaning them, the older guys, to step it up a little bit, and the older guys have been kind of slacking, and the SPL said enough's enough and told the old guys, the duct tape patrol, he said, I need to see your flag, I need to hear your yell, I need to see you guys all in full uniform. We're doing a uniform patrol inspection on the 24th, have everything squared away. And yeah, and I thought, oh boy, here we go. And the guys pulled it together within a week, and they're asking me all kinds of questions. So I think now that they're under a little bit of duress with the new patrol and the Lightning Patrol, I think they're really thinking that they better fix some things. So anyways, we got the new patrol, the Lightning Patrol. They elected a patrol leader. Evan's a good kid. He's pretty nervous. He's newer to the school, so he's not he's a little concerned about that. Let's see, what else did we get taken care of? We did our winter camp last month. I think we did that before we even recorded the first show.
Right.
And we had some troop leadership training that night. We talked about some of that other stuff. We finalized where we're going to stay for summer camp, and actually we did that today. And we finalized the 3 fundraisers that we want to do between now and summer. And we just kind of we tied up some loose ends that have been sitting out there. And I don't want to say that it's a good or a bad thing, but my committee chair was the Weevil is Den leader. And so 5 of his 9 boys actually came to the troop. And he had been stretched pretty thin with doing Weevil's Den leader duties and troop committee duties, to the point where I would say that the 4 boys who were in the troop got a little bit of neglect when it came to actually getting fundraising opportunities. And
so you guys took the old bull by the horn to make sure that Scout is thrifty, and at least at the troop level now, so that they can pay their own way.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of rode him a little bit, and he understood. And Bob and I are very good friends. So
that's good.
It worked out. We got our fundraisers taken care of, and on my personal note, I got my wood badge paid for. I'm just waiting for my packet, and that's going to be the 2 weekends. I think the 3rd weekend in August and the 3rd weekend in September. Yeah.
Yep. I know that well because I got a phone call today. They asked me to be on staff, and due to a conflict with some other things, I couldn't. and then I had my son is graduating college, and so then all of a sudden I had some work and personal conflicts with the other thing I was going to do, so I had to back out of that, and I don't think I backed out of that like 5 minutes before the phone rang from the course director of the Wood Badge staff in Fall, and he's like, "Hey, I hear you might be free again now." So so I'm just waiting till tomorrow to have a little talk with the wife, and I'll probably be on Wood Badge staff again. But you're gonna have a really, really good time on Wood Badge, and it sounds like from your troop news, you came up with a couple of good things that we'll probably hit on in the future of Scout Nation, the podcast, because summer camp is very important. I think we might do a podcast or two on just getting ready for summer camp, and another thing I think is really important for a lot of scouters and a lot of units is fundraisers. So I'm sure we'll touch on that as well. But I think we got a really good topic tonight, because you and I were getting ready to talk about Weeblos and crossovers and getting ready. And then after our first show came out and it got some positive feedback.
We got a lot of positive feedback from that first show. And I'm just going to throw this out right now. I want to say thanks for everybody for the great positive feedback. And I don't want to get into all the numbers and stuff like that, but, we did pretty well with that first show. A lot of the great comments that we got, and I'd really like to keep that quote-unquote magic going. So,
we did. I mean, we got some emails, we got some tweets, we got some posts on our PTC Media forums, and I got a quick email or a quick tweet from a guy I know from a previous Super Bowl champion hometown, New Orleans, a guy named Russell, where he's a scouter, and we've talked in the past, and he loved our first podcast and gave me some real nice feedback, and then suggested this topic: what to do with helicopter parents. Now, as soon as Russell told me that, I quickly contacted Shawn, and I said, "Hey, listen to this," and we were starting to work on this show, and I threw out this topic, and boom, the show pretty much wrote itself. So today's topic for Scout Nation is helicopter parents and how we deal with them. Now, we're going to talk about a little bit about it, but what you'll find is our focus is not going to be, as we like to call, GOSs, G-O-S, which are grumpy old scouters. They might get a little grumpy and tell me a story or two, but we're looking for positive results, and we're looking for how to deal with this in a positive way to make the parents feel welcome, but the parents understand what the program is. So, Shawn, you got a smaller troop, and so a smaller pool of parents. What is your? But you've also dealt with some Cub Scout parents for a number of years as a Cub Master.
Yep.
So what are helicopter parents, and how can we identify them?
Well, those are the ones that never leave their son's side for anything. That's how I define a helicopter parent. If you are as a leader, or you're running something, you are in charge of that station. You're the go-to guy for something. That parent is right there, either directly asking you what's going on, contradicting what you're saying. Just right there with their son, has to be there. If it's you're making a mold of something, they have to have their own materials to make that mold along with their son. And when their son doesn't do it perfectly in the first shot, those are the parents that are, they're pounding them right there. This is not how you do it, and it really takes away from the activity, and really takes away from the entire. I don't know. I guess
point of the program.
Yeah, like I said, that's a med thing kicking in. So, with I'm gonna probably a lot tonight because of my head being so cloudy. Prime example, and I can go use this one. This will probably help me out a little bit. when we were at Weeblo's camp last year, the counselors took the boys aside to work on specific activity pins, and one of them was scientist. And the leaders from my pack and our group stood back and, let the counselors do their thing, whereas another group from another unit, probably from another district, those dads decided that they had to step right in and tell their son how to do it and everything, and then contradict the counselor. So those are what I would consider helicopter parents. Are they necessarily being a negative influence? In the big picture, yeah, but they're also looking out for their kid.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that mostly you can't blame them. Are they being a negative influence? They're not intentionally being a negative influence. That's why I said no. Overall, at the end purpose of the scouting program, are they being a negative influence? What? Yes. And I'm glad you brought up your prime example as Weeblos 2, which is pretty much the end of the scouting at home philosophy of the BSA, because that's when they start as Tigers, it's all moms and dads and families, and you could do these requirements at home, and mom signs off the book, dad signs off the book. I mean, they're Akela, right?
Yep.
But when you cross over and you become a Boy Scout, it's a whole new method.
Well, there's no more Akela.
There is no more Akela, exactly. And I'll do one of my quick stories, because like many scouters out there, and you know what? Let's put our first plug out, and we'll start a new topic over at the forum. And you don't have to name names, but get on there, Scout Nation. Go to our forum at ptcmedia.net and post your best helicopter parent story. I'd like to see them. Let me see. The one I'm going to go with was, all right, it wasn't even when I was Scoutmaster, but when I was advancement chair, I kept on having this mom come up to me and say, my son didn't get this merit badge. He was supposed to get it at the Court of Honor. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Well, what was it? And she told me what it was, and I'm like, I think he had a partial in that. Well, he did this, this, and this. And I said, okay, well, have him come talk to me, and we can work it out. And, a couple of meetings go by, and I see the scout, and, never comes up and talks to me. And then a few meetings later, mom comes up, and why hasn't this been cleared up yet? Why haven't you fixed this? Why doesn't he have the merit badge? And I say, well, he hasn't come talk to me yet, so have him come talk to me. And well, he needs to do this and this. And I said, I understand. Just have him come talk to me, and we'll work it out. So the next 2 meetings, I make it a point of going to the scout and saying, hey, Shawn, so I'm using your name. Hey, Shawn, how you doing today? Oh, fine, Mr. Spellman. Hey, everything going all right? Yeah, everything's going okay. How's school doing? Oh, everything's going. Everything else is all right. You're getting ready for Eagle, because he was a life scout and 16 years old.
Okay.
So in the same patrol as my son at the time. And I said, everything's going all right? You're all getting on track, right? And he's like, yep. I'm like, okay. And sure enough, 2 meetings later, mom comes up to me, and this hasn't been resolved yet. And she got mad, and she went to the Scoutmaster, and went to the Scoutmaster at the time and said, this is what's going on, A, B, C, and D. And, well, have you talked to Mr. Spellman yet? And what did he say? And she's, yep. And he goes, well, what did he say? And she goes, well, he should have Shawn, the scout, talk to him. And the Scoutmaster said, well, has he? And mom went, no. And the Scoutmaster said, well, maybe he should. And eventually he came up to me, I think after that, and he said, hey, Mr. Spellman, talk to me a little bit. I talked to him a little bit, and we got it resolved pretty quick, and he got the merit badge. Now, I know a bunch of you are going, hey, you were being a real jerk, and some people out there might take that view and think that I was being a little jerky to the kid and the mom. And some might say, yeah, way to go, you did the right thing. And there might be some people in the middle there. The reason I did, and I did it all very politely, and I always made it a point of making myself available to that scout, was because I believe that the Boy Scout program is for the boy. The boy has to have some responsibility, and I'm more than willing to talk to a parent. If a parent comes up to me, I don't shun them. But if there's any business to be attended to that's outside of any type of emergency, I should be dealing with the scout.
Mm-hmm.
So what I think we'll do tonight is how do we eliminate those helicopter parents? What can we do?
Sniper rifle.
Well, yeah. What can we do to make everybody happy? And we could talk about it in the two methods. What we're doing on a big scale,
Mm-hmm.
and then Shawn, what you're doing on a smaller scale, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully you guys out there can hear what we do and see if you can utilize this in your units, and if not, let us know what you guys are doing, and maybe you can help us out. So I guess I'll start there, Shawn, if that's okay.
Actually, yeah, I was going to say, go ahead and tell me what you do, because, you're the mean advancement coordinator. I'm waiting to hear what you did to fix this one.
Well, I took that when I was advancement chair, and I'll tell you what, we got through a lot of advancement. We got a bunch of eagles. I wasn't mean when I worked with the scouts, and I don't think I was that mean to Mom. I was very polite to her because a scout is courteous. But we try to nip the helicopter parents in the bud, as it were, as soon as they cross over, which is why I'm glad you brought up the Weeblos, because when your scout crosses over and becomes a first-year scout, the majority of your problems with parents come from the active scouters from the Cub and Weeblo side, because they have been doing this for years. Some of them, if they joined when their son was a Tiger and now their son is a Boy Scout, they've been in it a number of years, and they've been doing for their son for a number of years, and it's quite a culture shock for those adults when they walk in and they see what I like to call that organized chaos happening at that troop meeting. And they know that, oh man, that would not fly at my Weeblo's Den meeting. We got everybody sitting around the table, hands on laps, and sure, we have fun, but when business needs to get done, we get it done, and we, either slap down the ruler, put up the sign, and take control of the room. And that's all fine and good for Weeblos, but that does not work for Boy Scouts, because it's the boys who are in charge. The guys are running the show. And what we do is we bring them in, these new adults, and indoctrinate them into the workings of the troop. A troop our size, so I have at current 111 scouts, which means that I have potentially, making the math easy, 222 parents to deal with. Maybe more, maybe less. Some scouts have one parent, some scouts have three. I actually have had a scout with five. Their parents were separated and remarried and had a very active grandma who would come to the scouts every once in a while. So, your results may vary, but that's what we're dealing with. So how do we control that and make sure that everybody comes in and sees what we're doing, understands it without being insulting or mean? Well, we recently started this new system up with my new training chair, and it's been going on for a couple of years and refining, so it's not just a thing that I came up with just for this podcast, but something we've been doing over a couple of years, and we got a new training chair that stepped up and is really going to knock it out of the park, I think. The first thing that happens when the new scouts come over, the scouts go and they become part of the troop, but the parents we keep aside. First meeting, everybody comes in. As Scoutmaster, I welcome them, and then the troop guides come in and they grab the scouts, and out the door they go. And you can see those worried looks on some moms and dads' faces, and they start to get up out of their seat to follow the scouts and where they're going, and we go, whoa, whoa, that's their meeting, this is your meeting. Welcome to the new adult meeting. And we hold the new adult meeting over 2 or 3 troop meetings to, A, keep that separation going, so that everybody comes to the meeting together, and then the parents come into one room and meet with some scouts and some scouters. And the scouts go into the troop room, and they do what they need to do to be Boy Scouts. And what we do there is we pretty much explain the role of the scout in the troop, and we explain the roles of the adults in the troop. We introduce them to various committee chairs. I talk as Scoutmaster. The committee chairman talks. The advancement chairman talks. The treasurers come in. We have a couple of scouts come in, like our troop guide. Our SPL comes in and gives a talk. And just say, this is what we do. And they can see it start to develop. They can see the adults are saying, hey, guess what? This is the stuff that I'm dealing with, and this is the stuff that I am working on. And then on the other end, they see the scouts come in and say, okay, well, this is what I'm doing, and this is what I'm working on. And they can see the difference where it's the scouts themselves that are doing the running of the troop, but the boys, I'm sorry, the scouts are doing the running of the troop, and that the adults are kind of doing the behind-the-scenes work, which kind of gets them into that mood. The new training chair has real nice step-by-step instructions on the various positions that adults can have in the troop, and we like to train. Training is very, very important, especially in this day and age. All scouters, registered scouters, have to be 100% youth protection trained, and we know that coming down the pike is going to be 100% position trained. So our training chair has a nice presentation that he gives to the scouters, potential scouters, that says basically, hey, you want to join the troop, you want to be active, fine and good, we want you here, but you know what? Here's the steps you need to take to become an active member in the troop that's trained and registered. So that's big. That's really big for us. But then what we do is we get all of them geared up, we get everybody raring to go, and they get to understand the inner workings of the troop, of how we got it all laid out, what they got to do to train with us. And then we say, here's the deal. For the next 6 months, we don't want you to be involved. I know I put a little pause in there. We do not want the new parents to be involved for 6 months. That's not saying that they're kicked out of the troops and they don't do anything. We just don't want them to come in and say, hey, you know, I was a den leader for 6 years, and now I'm going to be an assistant scoutmaster. We want you. We really do. But you know what? You need to see how we work. So we encourage every mom and dad to come to every meeting, sit in the back and just watch. You want to sit in on a patrol meeting? Go ahead. You could sit in with your son. We also like you to sit in on some older scout meetings, so you can see what your son, who just crossed over, will eventually do in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. That's what they're going to be doing. And it all starts today. We tell the mom and dads, you know what? Come on the campouts. We offer training on the campouts. Come on, camp with us. You'll be staying with our old goats. That's what we call all the adults. And we usually get 2 campsites. The old goats stay in one campsite, and the scouts stay in the other campsite, and the scouts spread out by patrol in that campsite, so that there is that actual physical separation. Mom and dad can come over, see their son. You want to watch them cook. You want to watch them play. We got a couple of times where we do mix and mingle, and we'll do some stuff with the guys. But you know what? We also have times when the old goats say, all right, we're going for a hike. Who wants to go? And, you know, a whole bunch just go on a hike, and they're gone for a couple hours, and leaves me sitting in the hammock making sure everybody's safe and sound, and one of the adult grub masters getting ready and cooking our lunch for us, you know. because you got to have that 2 deep. But we encourage them to see what the troop is doing, watch how everybody interacts with each other, and learn how the troop works, because eventually you're going to find your spot. And after that 6 months is up, you really have the inner workings of the troop, because that also included summer camp. So you've seen us, if you've been involved and want to be in there, you've seen us interacting, you've seen how the SPL leads the troop, you've seen how the patrol leaders take command of their patrols, you've seen how I, as Scoutmaster, and my assistant Scoutmasters interact and act as a resource of these guys. And you're going to find something that you like. You're going to find something that there's some hole that needs to be filled that you can do. And then the kicker of this whole program that we're starting is, at the end of that 6 months, not only are you integrated into the troop, people know you, you know how we work, you've been getting trained. So that when you register as a full assistant Scoutmaster, you're fully trained 100%. 100%. Which is absolutely our goal, to make sure all of our scouts are safe. So that's how, one way that we kind of nip those helicopter parents in the bud is we separate them right away and say, listen, this is how we're doing. You're going to have those people that don't get it, that do the end around, and they're still standing there talking to me or talking to the advancement chair, or as what happened a few nights ago. My wife is a treasurer who, she kind of got, not bullied, but, you know, she's trying to deal with money, and somebody's saying, well, my son this and my son that and my son this, and you're going to get that. And you just got to remember to be polite, try to be courteous, because that's what a scout is, and eventually they'll get the subtle hints, because when push comes to shove, I just say, listen, you know, we can talk and everything, but you know what? My title says Scoutmaster. My title doesn't say Adult Master or Parent Master. My title is a Scoutmaster, and that's who I work with. I don't work with the parents. I don't work with mom and dad. I don't work with the adults. Hey, that's the committee chair. You know, he's organizing those people. He's organizing those guys who want to help out. I'm working with the guys. I'm working with the scouts. I'm working with the SPL, the PLC, and after that, they usually get it. And so we've not totally eliminated that helicopter problem, but by utilizing this system, we've really, really limited the amount of adult choppering, as it were, around these guys. And you could really see these scouts blossom once you get mom or dad off their back a little bit, and they realize that they do that quick neck snap. I'm sure you've seen that, Shawn, where one of your young guys get ready to say something, and then whip crack, they're looking at you to make sure they're saying the right thing. Or even worse, whip crack, there's dad or mom sitting in the room as well, and then they're going to say something, they look over at them to make sure that they approve. When they start looking around and snapping their head back and forth, and they realize that there's nobody there to give them approval because they're the final say, man, I love that. I mean, that's scouting in action right there, where all of a sudden here's this 14-year-old realizing he doesn't have to get the approval of that 40-year-old guy sitting in the back in his uniform in the easy chair, because he's not the boss. That 14-year-old is, and whatever he's going to say is going to be the right thing. So that's how we kind of do it in Troop 199. Some of it works, most of it, and it's still a programming process, and I'm sure we'll update and see how things work, but and change as we get more and more adults involved, and more adult scouters coming in and helping me with the troop, and so. But that's how we're going along so far right now. Now, how do you guys do it?
Well, everybody, thanks for listening. That's all the show we have for tonight. Scoutmaster Bryan has used up all of our allotted time.
Well, I know you're a little loopy. You started texting me some some X's and O's and words I didn't understand. So.
And that happens. I'll just say this: ditto. We do everything you did. So, anyways, thanks for listening. Have a great week. And no, really, what we you hit some really good points, and telling parents to not take an active role. I think it doesn't matter. We've all got that mom, and I hate to say mom, but most of the time it is. Dads have a tendency to get it, but there's those dads too that just think, oh well, like you said with the next nap thing, and they have to turn, and some of these moms that just don't seem to want to let go. And well, we work on our stuff every week. That's great, but you're not his merit badge counselor. Or that's great, but the skill is going to be taken care of on the upcoming camp out that your son is going on. Oh, great, I'll stay right. Can I set my tent up next to him? No. Right now I can say this, and I don't want to sound like I'm conceited or think that I'm better than everybody else, but I recruit from a pack right now that I was a leader in for 5 years. Whether it was Cubmaster or I've always been there. Everybody, I'm not going to throw my shoulder out by patting myself on the back, but whenever somebody asks a scouting question, all eyes turn to me for the answer. So people typically follow my lead. And when I tell people that, I don't just say we do it this way because I tell them that we're going to do it that way. We do it this way because the BSA recommends, here's your literature that states this. This is why we do this. I educate the people because I'd rather educate them. It goes along the whole lines of give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime. I would rather do that because then I can, wipe my hands clean and walk away and feel a lot better about making that decision. Do I want to say that it's like, Bill Walsh and his coaching tree, something like that? Okay, maybe it sounds a little conceited, but in the same sense, I take the point on things, and people see how I act and react when it comes to scouts. I also, as boy, a tiger is a tiger. Okay, he's a first grade boy. He's a little powder keg. He's a little, he's a little kettle of soup, and someone just turned the burner up on that kid. And you better realize that you're going to have to cool it off somehow. And then he's going to get to be a wolf, and then he's going to get to be a bear, and then he's going to get to be a Webelos, and then a Webelos too. And by that point in time, moms, dads, you need to stop wiping your kids' butt. Period. I have that talk with the den leaders. Here's the deal. And, talking back about 20 minutes ago when we said there's no more Akela, I'm going to incorporate that into my talks. There is no more Akela. There is no more Akela. Your son is he's gonna do things so completely different. So I can take that. The helicopter parent, I don't have that now, and I really don't think that I'll have that for out of the pack that I recruit from now. Now remember that I've only been recruiting from one pack for the last 2 years.
Right.
This upcoming year, I'm going to start spreading my wings a bit, and then I'm gonna go from there and see what happens. But right now, I have a very good pulse on the people that I work with and volunteer with on a weekly basis. So I know these.
Now
Go ahead.
That's one of the benefits of your troop size. I mean, we were talking pros and cons last episode, but that's really a true benefit is that you're small enough and you're new enough is that you still have that pack relationship. They know who you are and where you're coming from, and it's a natural progression from the Webelos to the Boy Scouts, and you're almost doing the same program at this point because you trained your leaders properly before you left the pack and became a Scoutmaster. One of my biggest difficulties is the fact that I am recruiting citywide. Actually, we're a town. We're looking to become a city. But, I mean, I am literally recruiting from a good 10 different packs, and each is run differently. The one pack that meets in the same building that we meet on a different night is also run by one of my assistant scoutmasters, and he gets it, you know. So I know those guys are going to come over, and they're going to be good Weeblos, but I also know that the parents are going to come, and they're going to come in, and they're going to be on board with the program, and they're going to kind of already know what to expect. But then, you know, that's only 5 or 6, and I'm getting 30. So I got 25 guys and 50 parents who are coming over from packs that their interaction with us was the couple of meetings that they came by to visit us and a camp out or two to see if we were a fit for them. And it's a little bit of a culture shock. So I think you're lucky in that aspect that you're not having to deal with those issues yet. Once you start spreading your wings, though, Shawn, you're going to see that tenfold, because you're going to have people who come in that don't know who you are and don't realize your program until they're actually in it. So, not that that's going to be a detriment. You know, you're going to be getting an incredible base of people, but it's going to be a little different.
Right, and I don't want to get, you know, in the Gazas or nothing like that, but some leaders that have left our pack and have gone on to different troops are like that. They
like-minded attract each other, and you're going to have people come in.
Exactly.
They're going to know, you're going to know right away what type of people they are, and they're going to know, right away what type of troop you run, and they'll either stick around and join the program, and their scout will get the benefit of being in your program, or they'll find another program that's more suited for them, and their scout will get that experience. Not saying that other troops are doing it wrong and they're bad, but you know, like our friend Jerry says, there's Baskin Robbins got 32, 64 different types of flavors, and so does scouting. But I like.
Is this the point where I jump in now?
No, well, I was gonna say I like you adding the there's no Akela here now. My first.
Sorry, I had to throw it in there just based upon our previous discussions, and I'm feeling left out. I might be on the meds, but I'm feeling left out. So now is my time to talk.
Oh, go ahead.
Anyway, you know, we were talking about some, you talked about your resolutions, and, you know, the one story that you had in the beginning, I had my one from camp. And I wanted to tell just one brief little story on how we took care of that. Now, I was talking about how the boys were working on their scientist activity pin, and we stood back. The other dads jumped right in, and this was the first week of Weevils camp. This is my second year of going to this Weevils camp, and this was the 4th year of this camp being open. So I already attended half the years that this camp had been open. In other words, it wasn't my first rodeo. Commissioner Keith, who's a good friend of mine, was the Weevils Scout transition chair. Let's just say Weevils, W2S, Weevils to Scout transitioning is not something that I'm new at. So I sat back with my other leaders, and we just kind of watched as these counselors got mad, and the kids were getting frustrated. Our kids were having a blast, and this happened on Monday morning. Well, Tuesday night they had what they call a beach party, and down at the beach party, the parents are all come in and they sit down on the benches, and the boys suddenly walk in about a half an hour later and recite the Scout Oath, and they get their OA awards for helping with the camp cleanup and stuff like that. and then after that, what they're supposed to do are skits. And I had talked to the counselors, and our boys wanted to go first. Pack 4363 wanted to go first. And I know we're trying to stay Boy Scout centric, but just bear with me on how we took care of this helicopter parent episode. So with the counselors backing, we did the pack did their first set of skits. And, big round of applause. Everybody was really cool and happy about it. And the Scouts did great. Another pack gets up there. And, of course, these are the same dads that were with their kids and hounding the counselor and being a pain earlier that day. And the parents actually got up and started to do the skit. And my leaders and I jumped up and started booing and hissing them. Hey, I thought the skits were for the Scouts. Well, these counselors, Tommy, Kevin, Curtis, a girl named Sam, they had a venture there who was a counselor, her name is Sam. They saw me and my leaders heckling these guys and just started pounding them. These guys crawled off, crawled to the side and sat down. Later on, they came up and like, "Oh, what's going on?" I said, "This ain't my first rodeo. Your son is old enough to do these things on his own. Let him do them." And they're like, "Well, he's not old enough." And I said, he's a Weeblos now. Why are we having this? So that's how I resolved that one. And like I said, with my parents that I recruit from my pool right now, obviously, like you said, when I spread my wings, things are going to be different. But I think I'll be a bit more prepared for it.
Yes.
Because right now, I'm expecting it, and it's not happening. My parents that I have, the parents out of the 9 boys that crossed over, one parent is my assistant scoutmaster. All right, the 9 boys that I have in the troop, I'm the scoutmaster, the committee chair's son, my assistant scoutmaster's son. 2 of the other parents of the duct tape patrol are pretty hands-off. And then the new guys that came over, one mom said that she'll help out with events and stuff like that, and another dad said he'll be an assistant scoutmaster sometime around summer camp. But he gets the program because he's a former Eagle Scout. And he's been there the whole way, and he gets it, so he's been educated, and Tom's a good guy, and I'm glad to have him on the Scoutmaster team. So this next group that I will be recruiting from, they get it too. They came to one of my troop meetings already. They did one of their troop visits and saw how, I said, those guys are over there doing. I'm not here in their face. I'm here talking to you guys. And this is where I stay for the night. They're like, really? I said, it doesn't matter that the flag ceremony looks like crap. They're doing it. It doesn't matter that the skits look unorganized. They're doing it. That's my whole vision here. I don't care what it looks like. It's just the fact that they're doing it. And my parents, boom, they get it right away. So it's not that I'm not having the issues. And I think we talked about this when we started this topic, and I said that I'd be kind of laid back, and, you're going to have the more experience with it than me because, number one, this is only my 2nd year. Number 2, I've educated my current recruiting pack. Am I going to be able to educate, future units? I don't know. Like you said, you recruit from a whole city. You're busy enough with your troop. I don't think you can go out and you can go make the time to go to 6 different pack meetings in a month.
Right.
To stop in and say, hey, how you doing? But your program speaks for itself. So people are coming to see you. They're not coming. You don't have to go and recruit them as much as your program and your scouts are already recruiting them for you.
No, that's a good observation. I never really thought of it that way. College football. Pete Carroll, maybe kind of a bad example, but Lou Holtz, Urban Meyer, Steve Spurrier, Nick Saban, those guys, they don't need to go out and highly recruit these guys. People already know that those guys have good programs, so they make the initial contact. It's kind of the same with what you have going on in your program. As of last recharter, 111 scouts that you recruited, or recharted, I'm sorry. But people are calling you to come to your troop visits.
if they can't see that, if you had a full troop meeting where every scout was there, and you're still sitting in the back doing a Scoutmaster conference, or kind of standing off to the side waiting for one of your scouts to get done with his board review, or just talking with your assistant Scoutmaster team, and not being up in the face of the senior patrol leader saying, you got to get this done, you got to get this done now, or crawling up onto some other kid who's, shirts untucked. That's not what it's all about.
Right.
It's your job as the Scoutmaster, the Master of Scouts, and, it should be Scout servant, because you're really, we are servants of the Scouts. We're not there to wipe their butt.
Right.
We're there to show them where the toilet paper is. I mean, it doesn't really, you can simplify it and you can put it in all kinds of different things, but, this isn't your first rodeo, son. No, you don't, Mom, Dad, let him be. He's fine. But Isaac,
Right.
Yabbits live in the woods. I don't have time for a parent to run after their son to take care of
Right.
it.
Right.
They only touch the hot fire once.
Yeah, that's true. Well, before they get to that, just give you a couple of my last little helpful hints in a quick story. First off, I always start off every new introduction when those scouts come in. The first thing I tell them, and it always gets a big round of applause and a huge cheer. I go, listen, guys, there are no parents here. They all look behind them. They see Mom and Dad, and they look forward. And I said, yep, there are no moms and dads here. There are no moms and dads in our troop. And they all cheer and they clap, and they're like, oh, yay. And I go, yep. I go, there's only adult leaders. There's only adult leaders. And that kind of gets the message across right at the beginning. No moms and dads. The second is, maybe for some of you guys out in Scout Nation, you've been listening to us, and we've got some good ideas, and I'm doing some things you might want to try, and Shawn's doing some things you might want to try. But I got somebody in my unit right now. What do I do? My best advice to you is be inclusive. What you want to do is, when you see a helicopter parent working that poor kid, put your arm around him and bring him away. Hey, Mr. Cleary, we're on the camp out, and come on, the old goats are getting ready to do some Dutch oven cooking over here. Why don't you come help us? So-and-so needs a hand setting up the shelter. Try to take them out of the situation, and not running over there saying, "Scout run, Scout run, Scout run," and start cracking the whip and chasing the parent away. But make it so that it's not embarrassing, and put a gentle arm around somebody and just take a nice little walk over, and then just quietly and calmly explain, hey, give them some room, let them breathe. And finally, if that doesn't work, I have a walking stick, and it's a nice size walking stick. It's a nice wooden one. I got some rope around it and some medallions and some carving, and it's about 6 foot tall. And it's my Scoutmaster staff. I got it my first year of summer camp as a Scoutmaster, and I brought it with me, and I've had it for a couple of months. When one of the first year patrols named it, because I had this one dad that every time I turned around, boom, he was right there with his son. Right there with his son. His hand on his son's hand, flipping that pancake. Him saying, all right, we'll just sit there, and him going into the cooler and getting stuff out. Him putting his head in the kid's tent and, making sure that the sleeping bag was all fluffy and his pillow was in there. And hanging up his clothes to dry. And, I finally had enough, and I tried the gentle approach. We tried the, hey, I had some other adults call him over. And he'd go over to the other adults, and then eventually you turn around, and there he was over there. So finally one day I walked over there, and not one day, well, with this one camp out, I had my walking stick, and he was there, and I said, Mr. So-and-so, and I put my staff down right between him and the scout, and I just kind of started using that staff as an old cattle prod, and kind of started pulling him away. And I go, you made me bring out my hiking staff. We're going to have to separate you. We're going to have to bring you over here and let the scouts be scouts, and the adults will have to be over here. And the guys got a good laugh, and Dad and I had been a little upset, but he went away, and that was that. And then about 2 campouts later, the same patrol, one of the dads came over, and he was just asking the guys how they were doing, and looking at what they were cooking, and said, oh, what you got going here? Do you need any help? And I walked past, and I heard one of them say, uh-oh, watch out, here comes Mr. Spellman with the separator. He might use the separator on you there, Mr. So-and-so. You better get moving over to the old goat area. So I thought that was kind of funny, and I make sure I have that. I have the separator at every camp out there is. So
when
those are my closing thoughts.
You've got the old goat patrol. You don't hand out patches or nothing for that, do you?
Actually, we used to. We don't now. But I had a couple of adults come up to me not 2 days ago and say, hey, do we have any old goat patches for the patrol? I don't wear it because I don't, I consider myself part of the old, I eat with the old goats. I eat with the scouts sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I sleep. I'm the buffer between the old goats and the scouts. Nobody sleeps closer to the scouts than I do.
Mm-hmm.
They get moved. But they have some patches. We haven't gotten them in a while, so
okay.
I don't know. We could have a whole show about whether or not that's good idea, bad idea.
And I think we should throw that out there because that would have led me on to another topic, and we're kind of running a little bit long here. But when we get on a good topic, we get on a good topic, and I think this is one that Russell really wanted to hear about, and I'm glad we could certainly do it tonight. Glad my voice held up. It's starting to get a little bit raspy. Pretty soon I'm going to sound like B. Arthur, but that happens. But yeah, I wanted to touch base on, do you see that Twitter post earlier this week about, I think it was Den Leader Dean and some guys threatening to quit their wood badge ticket because if they got on the antelope patrol, they would quit?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. And that's something else I want to talk about in an upcoming show is, some wood badge stuff. And
I'm going to wait. We're going to wait until your first, after your first
okay.
weekend at wood badge, and then we can talk wood badge. So
yeah,
I think we'll have a good show. We'll do a intro when you come back from your first weekend, and then we can get into it when you come back from your second weekend, because it's an incredible experience, and you're gonna absolutely love it. And you know what? It does teach you about it teaches you a lot about leadership, a lot about fellowship, a lot about dealing and working with scouts, and a little bit of dealing and working with helicopter parents. So
good. And
any closing comments, closing remarks from you there, Shawn?
Not really.
Where can we follow you? And
well, I was going to just say that sorry, you're going to have to wait until September to hear about that wood badge stuff, but that's all right. We'll keep this thing going for a while. I don't know. I guess really, well, kind of looks like I got to get some ice cream home. I got to go. Wife's calling. Yep. So you guys, hey, look me up on Twitter, SM_Shawn. You can look me up on Skype, Shawn.Cleary. Drop me an email, Shawn.Cleary@gmail.com. Give me some more ideas on stuff you guys want to hear about. I know Brian posted a survey out there. I'd really like to hear your feedback on that too. Brian, anything you got to say?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at Bryan Spellman, BryanSpellman. I also got my the Scoutmaster, but I link those posts directly to my Twitter account. Or, of course, you can email me directly at scoutmaster@troopa99.org. We'd like to thank Russell. He's on Twitter at rmadre. I think it is. It's RMADR. I'm sorry, RMADERE. He suggested our topic tonight, so we want to thank Russ and give him a little shout out and follow him if you're not following him. We're trying to make sure that we get all of our scouters followed on Twitter and get a nice big community going. Make sure you keep on pushing that 100 Days of Scouting. There's a whole bunch of us doing some good out there. And make sure you stop by the forums at ptcmedia.net. And I think I plugged about everything that needs to be plugged. So
I got one more plug to throw out there, and this is one that Chris always loves for me to throw out. If you're out on the trail, or you're at a round table, or you're at a really just awesome experience, give the PTC Media feedback line a call. That number is 260-782-4147. Leave a voicemail. Have everybody in the room yell, scream, and holler. We love to hear that stuff, and it'll get on a show. The one other thing I think we got coming up, too, is that the PTC Media photo contest. Make sure you guys get your photos in for that, because in store, I think the winners are going to be announced on the shows, on different shows, and you get a $20 or $25 gift certificate for trailstop.com for some really cool merchandise. And then after that, we're all going to get together and we're going to decide the ultimate winner, and they're going to get a $50 gift certificate for classb.com. Nice. Yeah, that's some really cool stuff. And you and I talked about it today, and I let you in some really good news that I think something's going to be happening here with sponsor-wise, and I'm going to say mum's the word on that, because if and when they come on board, it's going to be a real sweet thing. I hope they come on board. So that's really all I got. Brian?
That's it. So, ladies and gentlemen, scouters and scouts, if you're listening to, thank you for listening to Scout Nation. And make sure that you do something in your corner of that nation and let us know about it. And we'll see you next time right here on the podcast. Have a good night.
Good night. Yeah, there, don't you know, hey?
Oh, really, yeah?
Yeah, hey, you know.
Well, I lived 20 minutes from Canada.
You live from Canada, eh?
Oh, yeah.
How do you spell Canada, eh?
Tim Hortons. You gotta go to Tim Hortons all the time.
C-A-N-A-D-A, Canada, eh?
Canada?
Canada? I shouldn't do that. I was recording, so.
Yeah.
That's all right. Maybe I can make that into the highlight reel.
There you go.
We'll see. Something.
Yeah. Us doing funny accents from Canada.
Yeah, maybe it'll boost our not our leadership, but our listenership, you know, eh? People like that.
International leadership.
Yeah, we can earn our international scouters now, eh? I think I'm gonna make a song up. There ain't no Akela here. There ain't no Akela here. There may be bugs on some of your mugs, but there ain't no Akela here.
I'm a big fan of curling.
Really?
It's my second favorite sport.
That's pretty cool. That's cool because... Oh, we need to record a show.
Yeah.
All right, Cleary, enough. Let's get this show on the road. Show Ramstead and Borgine how it's done.